So the first question is, we're going to get 60 seconds to respond. First question goes to you, Richard. Do you think Occupy Wall Street has been successful?
Enormously successful, and the best way to see that is how Occupy Wall Street changed the debate. A year ago, we would be talking about austerity and out-of-control government. Now we talk about the problems of the 99%, how government and the corporate sector have turned their back on the vast majority of Americans and frankly people around the world. That stemmed from Zuccotti Park. That began here. The concern about returning public institutions to doing things that are in the public interest began here. It's been an enormous success.
Tom, what do you think?
Occupy Wall Street has been successful at sort of forming a bridge for this administration between the public employee unions and the White House, so that they can try and add a color of legitimacy to this idea and this language that we're hearing a lot about from the president about fairness and about income redistribution and income inequality. But at the same time, we've missed a lot of opportunities because of the crime, because of the rapes, the drugs, all of the arrests, and the vandalism. We've missed a lot of opportunity to talk about some really important issues that I think Richard and I might actually agree on that need to be discussed in American politics. So they failed on both.
This has been one of the most peaceful movements in the history of the world. Notion that there's rape and crime.
Peaceful. During one protest, we had 700 arrests.
Yeah, peaceful meaning in the sense non-violent. This was not a violent movement.
We
Can't
gotta
separate
move
the
on.
message from the messenger. I'm
We're
sorry.
now talking about the Buffett rule. Is it more about fairness or class warfare? Tom, you have 60 seconds.
It's far more about class warfare. And you know what? I love the fact that they call it the Buffett rule. It makes me laugh every time, because here's a guy who used insider information to make millions of dollars off of the Wall Street bailout. He's the poster child for crony capitalism, but suddenly now he's a liberal hero.
I'm not so sure I understand what the personal attack on Warren Buffett establishes for the question. He's not a criminal any more than Occupy Wall Street was. He's been a tremendously successful businessman, and he has a point of view. That point of view is he should not be paying a tax rate lower than his secretary.
Look, the Buffett rule, even by liberal estimates, will bring in about $80 billion a year. The government spends $4 billion a day, so any third grader can do the math on that.
The current system is unfair, works for the 1%, doesn't work for the 99%, and you can call anybody any name you want, but the president and the Democrats have found a message that resonates with the majority of people. It's going to win the election.
But the question is it about fairness or class warfare?
It's about both.
I knew he was going to say that.
Well, but listen to the full answer. Class warfare is not anything that President Obama and Occupy Wall Street declared on the 1%. It was the 1%.
Do you not like my
declaring-
questions?
Well, some I like, some I don't like.
All right, we have to move on. We have to move on. Okay, the growing gap between the haves and have-nots. Is it more about capitalism or the fault of the 1%? Richard, I'll start with you. 60 seconds.
It's the fault of government policies and corporate policies that have made it inevitable. We have seen a concentration of wealth in this state, in this country, of a kind that the democracy cannot survive. When 5 billionaires can control the Republican primary because they're writing $5–10 million checks apiece, the system is in danger. So we've got to do something, as any democracy does, about income inequality. And again, Occupy Wall Street brought that message to public attention, and it's now being translated into political campaigns, which is how the American system should work.
All right, well, I happen to agree with Richard that it is about the system. And that's where we should be having this debate. We shouldn't be locking down the Lincoln Tunnel tomorrow. We should be talking about what are the policies that we need to advance in order to ensure that we create wealth and help advance and grow the middle class in this country, help strengthen the middle class. And the way that you create wealth is by creating jobs and then also allowing people to keep more of their own money instead of sending it to the bloated, bureaucratic government.
Is it capitalism or the fault of the 1%?
The capitalism is equal opportunity, but not equal outcome. That was what this country was founded on. You go to, it's not, communism is equal opportunity and equal outcome. All right, our system enables people to move within the system. All right, but we do have a problem when you've got corporations and folks making money that are being backstopped by the taxpayer unfairly, and you've got a problem when you have a class of bureaucrats and public employees unions that are the dominant force in deciding the direction of our government.
It is not a question of 6 public sector unions somehow ruining the country. The concentration of wealth is the problem, not individuals who work for government.
Well, you must have voted for a lot of those contracts in Albany, so I don't expect you to contradict your own record on the public sector unions that have almost bankrupted this state.
I would expect a man of your experience to know that the legislature does not vote on contracts.
But you supported the contracts.
Okay, now you're changing from voted to support?
I stand corrected.
You do.
I like what's happening here. I like this. All right. Moving on. Fact or fiction? Okay, fact or fiction? Tom, we'll start with you.
Okay.
The Wall Street bailout worked. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Because?
Because it was a typical big government solution. You know, right to this day, you've got major banks, you've got major corporations that can get no interest loans and then lend that money back to taxpayers, and those loans are taxpayer money. You've got Bank of America can still move its money into certain accounts that will be shielded by the taxpayer. The American people don't want to be the backstop for corporations, and this collusion between corporations and the government is part of the problem that fiscal conservatives see with the system.
Richard, respond to that.
The Bush years brought us a collapse of our economy and our financial system. And a financial system in America is a necessary part of a prosperous economy. So what the Bush administration and the Obama administration did was take steps to preserve credit. That was necessary and successful. It was not by any means the end of the debate, but if you want banks to be able to lend so people can buy homes, buy cars, have the credit that oils an economy, it was necessary and it worked.
You say it worked.
I just did, yes. But if you'd like me to say it a third time, I would be glad to.